it's John and Kasey here from Are You Real? And we've been sleeping on my pillow now for over a month. And I'm telling you, our sleep has improved drastically. So what are you waiting for? When are you going to jump on board and start experiencing the kind of restorative sleep you need in your life? Are you waiting for a better offer? Well, your wait is over, because if you go to mypillow.com right now, you can take advantage of the MyPillow 4-pack offer, right, John?
That's right. You get 2 premium MyPillows and 2 to-go anywhere pillows at half off. Just go to mypillow.com, use my code REAL, and get 50% off. Go to mypillow.com, click on the 4-pack special, and enter promo code REAL, or call 1-800-943-4615. But don't forget, you got to use promo code REAL.
With our lives being pulled in so many directions, it can be hard to focus on the most important thing, your well-being. Welcome to Are You Real Fit, where we educate you through personal experience, certified training, and coachings that show you how being healthy, biologically and spiritually, is an achievable journey. Now, welcome your host, running coach, and certified personal trainer, Kasey Fuller.
Hey everyone, welcome to Are You Real Fit? Our goal here at Are You Real is to inspire and equip others to fulfill their purpose. One way we do that is by bringing you different hosts and shows weekly exploring different topics that will help you find God's purpose for your life. So be sure to tune in to all the Are You Real shows weekly. Today's guest is someone I cannot wait to talk to, because I know so many of us struggle with keeping our lives balanced in general, but especially in the area of eating meals at home, because we're just so busy all the time. So I want to welcome Tiffany King, author of Eat at Home Tonight, to the show. Tiffany, thanks for coming on today.
Thanks so much for having me.
Tiffany, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I have been married for 30 years, and my husband and I have 4 kids. Most of them are grown now. We still have one who is under 18, so wow. We're not quite empty nesters yet. I've been blogging at eatatHomeCooks.com for almost 10 years, and back in 2008, we had soccer, kids on traveling soccer teams, and I noticed the practices were always right at dinner time, and so many families were eating out because it's hard to cook when you're not at home. Mm-hmm. But I had figured out a couple of strategies, and so I started sharing those on the blog. I'm not very good at a lot of things, but dinner is one of the things that I have figured out.
Yeah, and that's one of the hardest things I think about, being a busy mom and trying to make sure your family's getting good nutrition and, you're getting that family time together. So I absolutely love this cookbook. That I have been looking through this cookbook, used some of these recipes. And so, you told us a little bit about it, but tell us a little more behind the idea of this book, because you've got some great things in here. You've got in the table of contents, you only have 15 minutes to eat tonight. I don't have time for dishes. I mean, you even have in here that if you don't have anything in your refrigerator, you have ideas for that. So kind of tell us a little bit about the process of that.
Yeah, I organized the book, each chapter to solve a different kind of dinner dilemma that we all face. And these are things that I think all of us with kids and a busy family are going to experience at one point or another. Maybe we're not even home for dinner that night, or we don't have time to cook, or that 15-minute chapter is my favorite. It's the one that I turn to most often for myself. Because you can almost always carve out 15 minutes. In fact, a lot of times that's faster than going through a drive-through.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if you have to leave your house to do it. But, yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's how I organized it, just to solve the problems that we all face.
I love that. And you have some great pictures in here of the food. I mean, literally, you can just look through here and your mouth starts watering, and it's really well done. And so I really have been enjoying this cookbook. And so I want to talk a little bit about, you do have a website, and I think you mentioned that you do some things online. Tell us a little bit about that, what you do online to kind of help women, or I guess anyone who needs help kind of figuring out how to do some of these things at home.
Yeah, I do have a few men in my audience, but it is mostly women. But I guess we're the ones mostly in the kitchen, for better or worse.
Right.
That's the way it is. Yeah, I took myself in another direction there. On the website, I've got like 10 years of content, recipes, all kinds of recipes on there. I'm on Facebook Live almost every week, demonstrating how to make different quick meals. We do a lot of freezer cooking over there as well. So we've got plans, and there's 2 plans in the book that you can do 6 meals in just 1 hour and stock your freezer. So those are really popular for obvious reasons. To be able to get that much work done in 1 hour is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we also have a meal plan service, eat at home meal plans, where we provide the grocery lists and the menus, recipes, and all for our members. But all of it is designed, just like the cookbook, just to solve our dinner problems, to make dinner easy so that we can gather with our family around the table.
Wow. Yeah, I absolutely love that. And I mean, everything not only looks good, but, just the fact that you've simplified it. Most of us are in a hurry, and really there's a lot of healthy recipes in here. We're Are You Real Fit? So we're all about, getting that good nutrition in. And of course, eating at home is always going to be better for you than, like you mentioned before, just running through that drive-through and getting something quick. And so, I absolutely love that. You've simplified the process. And so I want to ask you a couple questions about that, because being a mother, being a wife, it is always important to us to feed our family well, even though we all face that challenge of kind of figuring out, how we can best do that with our busy schedules. So have your kids, have they all approved these recipes, or how did all that come about?
Well, I will say they do like the recipes, but I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that every one of them loves every recipe, because that's not realistic. I think a lot of times when we cook for our families, we kind of have this expectation that if a meal is going to be a winner, and by winner we mean we can serve this again, that it's something everybody at the table is going to like. But I don't really think that necessarily has to be true, because we all have things that we don't like. I still don't like mushrooms. I'm probably, I've tried, but I'm probably never really going to like them. I can eat them if I have to. And it's okay. We can respect those things in our kids, and we can also help our kids to learn to like things. The way I handle my picky eaters, and I've had 2 that are pretty picky. One of them has become a very adventurous eater, and the other one is never going to be an adventurous eater. And that's okay. That's on her now. She's all grown up. But I just serve them the food, encourage them to take a bite. I let them pick out what they don't like after they try it, but I'm not going to pick it out for them or cater the meal around their tastes. So what happens then, a lot of times, is they'll get used to those foods touching each other. They'll get used to the look of it on the plate, watching other people eat it. And eventually, a lot of times, they'll try it. Now, not every time. They may not ever come to like whatever that particular food is. But it's a good way to broaden their palate and let them become okay with eating things that maybe aren't their favorite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that, because, I think all of us have to deal with, having a picky eater. If you don't, if you have more than one person in your household, chances are you've got some specific things that somebody doesn't like. And as a mom myself, it is difficult and challenging to find a meal that everybody agrees on. Even ordering pizza, one kid wants one thing and another kid wants another thing. So you kind of have to, figure out what your strategy is on that. And I like the idea of, I'm not going to necessarily cater to everybody. And if it's not your favorite meal, I'll do your favorite meal another night. I think that's a great strategy.
Yeah, it is. I think, a lot of times as moms, we get the idea in our mind that it's our job to make our kids happy. Logically, we know that's not our job, but we want happy kids, right? They don't have to be happy with every single meal. That's unrealistic, and that's a surefire way to make us unhappy.
Right.
So, yeah.
I love that. And, we have 3 kids, and our 3 are now all teenagers, and I kind of have a few different eaters myself, and my son, he was my one who, I guess for probably about 3 years, if you asked him to eat something green, he would say, "What is that?" I mean, he just, it was like, and here we are healthy, and I'm a personal trainer, we couldn't get him to touch a vegetable, especially, something green. But now that he's in high school, he's a sophomore, he'll actually eat salad, which just amazes me. So maybe, it was all those, times that we had it on his plate, and even though he kind of pushed it aside, and he maybe took a bite or two, his palate developed.
Yeah, his palate did develop, and his understanding. I think our kids' understanding of what it means to be healthy and the necessity of that and the benefits in their life, that's going to come along, but it may take a few years. They're not going to understand that at 5 years old in the way they will at 15 or the way they will at 25 and so on.
Right. Yeah, that's so true. So, Tiffany, is there a scripture or a life verse that's guided you through this process?
Oh, my. I love Philippians 4. Rejoice in the Lord always. I will say it again, rejoice. That's just something in my life that I have to constantly remind myself. I'm naturally a little pessimistic, and so I'm a work in progress there. But that's a good verse for me to remember.
It is. That's a great verse. So one of the things that you bring up about eating together is how it's one of the only times that we can experience the 5 love languages. And I want to talk a little bit about that and how you bring up, prayer and how it's helped to shape your family. In what ways have you seen that happen through eating meals together?
Yeah, the love languages, we all experience love in kind of one of these 5 categories, as Gary Chapman pointed out in his book. And the dinner table, you don't even have to think about it. In other areas of life, if you're going to speak somebody's love language, you might have to try a little bit. But around the dinner table, it just happens naturally. So we have quality time. Obviously, we're spending time together around the table. Words of affirmation. We can just speak positively to each other as we have our conversation, and that's easy to do around the table. Physical touch as we hold hands in prayer, or we're right next to each other to give a pat on the shoulder or a quick hug. Acts of service is like the whole meal, putting on the meal, cleaning up. The whole thing is an act of service. And if you have somebody in your family that has that love language, they're the most likely to help you clean up or get dinner on the table. So that's a great time to spend with that person. Wow. And then gifts is the final love language. And that's a little bit of a stretch. But if you make a special meal or a special dessert or whatever it is for that person who has the love language of gifts, that will speak to them in that way. So, yeah, I think the dinner hour is just really naturally packed to meet our needs as people.
I agree. Yeah. And as you were saying that, I was thinking about, the different personalities we have in our house. And I have my youngest daughter as my one who always volunteers. Can I help you clean up? And it's just really neat when you put it in perspective of the 5 love languages. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been good. And as far as like our family, we're blessed now that our kids are older, and we have 2 who are married. And so I can see how all that culture of family dinner has grown in their life. And now they're in their new homes with their spouses, and they're beginning that culture in their own family, that tradition of eating together. And then they still come back for dinner. My daughter and son-in-law the other day, they're usually here on Sundays, but this week was a little crazy. And they called on Monday and said, hey, if you're not busy, we'll come. And I said, do you want dinner? Which I had already started thinking there were 3 of us. This happens to me a lot. And she's like, yeah, we'll have dinner too. So we ended up with, 5 or 6 of us at dinner that night by the time everybody straggled in. It doesn't happen often, but they know that they can come back at dinner. And it's just really good to have adult kids who do want to come back and visit.
Yeah, that's great. And another thing, as you were talking about that came to my mind was, one of the rules that we have at our table is no cell phones.
Yes.
I just feel like, in order to really get that full experience, we don't get to sit down and necessarily eat a meal together every single night of the week, but I do try to make it a priority on the nights that we can make it happen and the nights that we're all home. And I really notice a difference when we're able to, like you said, just really enjoy that experience together. So I think that's really a neat thing that you incorporate the 5 love languages in there.
Yeah, and the cell phone thing is, that we've never done the TV or cell phones at the table, but I will say that now that there's sometimes only 2 or 3 of us around the table, it feels so much more relaxed, and like there's just not as many of us after you get used to a lot. And those cell phones are starting to creep back in, even if it's just me and my husband. Mm-hmm. And we've talked about that recently. Like we need to put the reins on this.
Yeah.
and focus on what we're really doing here. We still are having a meal together.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's great advice. So, Tiffany, do you have a last piece of parting advice for our listeners today?
I would just say, give it a try, eat at home with your family. No matter what your circumstances, if you have a few minutes to put something in the slow cooker in the morning, do that. If you only have 15 minutes in the evening, find yourself some good 15-minute recipes, whatever it takes to just gather your family around the table. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just need to get together. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, being that this is Are You Real Fit, I do have to kind of throw this in there, that there are a lot of benefits to cooking and to eating at home, and just some of those things, so our listeners can just keep this in mind, is, you have portion control, you're going to have healthier ingredients, you're going to save time because, Tiffany brought up even just going through the drive-through sometimes can take 15, 20 minutes and you still have to get home, and, you can look through her cookbook and find a recipe that's going to take you 15 minutes at home and you're done, or even less. So it's going to save you that time. You're going to, be able to avoid your food allergies and have something that, you really want and enjoy. And most importantly, it's going to bring your family together. So there's just so many benefits to making this a priority in your home. And with this cookbook that Tiffany has, you guys cannot make any more excuses. So I want to thank you for coming on, Tiffany, and sharing this cookbook with our listeners. And we'll be sure to link that in our show notes. And can you tell us where else we can go to find you, just to make sure we can get that in there as well?
You can go to eatathomecooks.com or to eatathometonight.com. Either one will get you there, and you can find out more.
Okay, perfect. So for more about today's show or anything Are You Real, be sure to go to areyoureal.org, and don't forget to like us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and remember, set your goals, say your prayers. Love you guys.
Now that we've given you more ways to live the healthy lifestyle you were created to live, the next step is to reach out to us for links to online training videos, show notes, guest information, and more on areyoureal.org. We appreciate your time and look forward to helping you continue your journey towards a happy, healthier life here on Are You Real Fit?